Hello, this is Josh Sigmund with Legacy Mutual Mortgage. I want to give you a tip of the week again. I've been having a lot of questions about something that's happening specifically in Texas, which is has to do with disabled veterans and filing for taxes with a disabled vet, 100% disability. How does that impact your buyers and sellers? And it comes up a lot towards the end of the year because there's the bigger impact the further in the year it gets, and I'll explain why. But really simply, if you don't know, if you have a buyer or seller that is 100% disabled Texas veteran, Texas law now has changed where literally they can pay zero property taxes. So, of course, they earned it. It's a big deal. I totally agree with it. But what it does do is it does present a few challenges when it comes to selling a property. If you've got a buyer buying the property of a disabled vet, it's something that is happening more and more often here and creating bigger and bigger challenges. And what I'm specifically talking about is the proration of taxes. So as all of you agents know, and possibly buyers as well, basically the day of close, the seller, according to the Texas real estate contract, is supposed to give a proration of taxes back from January 1st through the closing date for their portion of taxes that they should have paid year to date. And that way, when the buyer is setting up their own escrow account, they would set up their escrow account, but they would have enough in there from January through the closing date so that they're not in a shortage at the end of the year. Well, therein lies the problem. If the seller is a disabled vet and they're not required to pay taxes, then there's zero credit from the seller to the buyer on the first page of the settlement statement. However, the buyer is not going to be a 100% disabled Texas veteran, and they're then required to set up an escrow account with the assumption that they're going to be paying full taxes. So you have this big disparity in cash at closing. And it's better to find that out during the negotiation periods than it is to find that out the day before closing, right? So the big difference from the buyer's perspective then is if they're required to set up at this point of the year, September, October, November, effectively a full year of taxes at a proration with zero back from the seller, then in addition to their normal closing costs, they're literally effectively paying 12 months taxes in addition the day of closing. So that could be a $3,000, a $7,000, or a $10,000 cash to close difference. So it's been a point of contention recently. So here's the advice that I'd give you. Number one is put a checklist item anytime you take a listing to double check what the actual exemptions are. And have that conversation that, hey, listen, there's a possibility that this could provide problems from the buyer's perspective in cash to close. So we might need to keep in mind that we might need to ask or pay a few $1,000s towards closing costs. That might be something to have an upfront conversation with the seller about. If you're a buyer's agent and you're making an offer on a property, again, a checklist item is pull the tax rolls. Take a quick peek and make sure that the house you're not making an offer on is either 100% disabled or over 65 exemption or other disability, because again, that disparity in the credit from the seller to the buyer is substantial at the end of the year. So I hope that helps. Again, this is Josh Sigmund with your tip of the week. If you have any further questions, call me back at 210-492-4900 or email me at josh@legacymutual.com. Hope you have a great weekend. Have a good one. Bye-bye.